everyone, Phil from Phil's Train Layout. So, as you know, working on the layout is a challenge in some aspects, and you want to get as much detail as possible. Working on the layout is a lot of fun. Keeps your artistic thoughts flowing and makes you want to see how realistic you can make things look. So, a couple videos ago, we were working on some of the details in this area, finishing some of the installation of some of the track, and I had used up some of the paper mache plaster mix in this area that we used for the ditch that we had just installed. I'll link the video to that up in that corner up there so that you can watch that later. So I think what we're going to do here is just work on this church area. So I do have this church. It's a little in rough condition at the moment and needs a little TLC just to bring it back up to snuff again. But I think what I'm going to do with this, I originally had it so that it was in this position right here, and it had a small parking lot off to the side for the cars to park, but I think I'll modify this parking lot here a little bit and just make the parking lot a little bigger. Now that I've opened up some of this area, I'm just able to do a little bit more detailing than what I was originally going to. So I can expand the parking lot out here. I'll probably take the church off the base and just put it directly on the ground. But I'm just going to detail some of this area here. Just going to give it some color, a little bit of ground cover, and then I'm slowly going to work through this area here, figure out what I'm going to do with this nasty corner back here. I might just put a retaining wall on it, but this area is what we're going to focus on today. Just little tiny videos, just so that you can see and follow through on the different things that I've done, continuing through the layout. So, like everything else, I just use your basic everyday craft paint. A lot of these just come from the dollar store, and they're cheap. They're just like poster craft paints, and they just use them as basic base coat for painting and doing details. So I'll just throw some of this stuff down, and like everything else, I like using the brown for the edges just to hide some of that, and then we'll just start spreading it around. And of course, I put on way too much paint. That's okay. I'll just use some of this. I was going to say I was going to use some of this somewhere else, but I don't really have another spot for it. But that's okay. Oh, I just splattered all over my finger. And now I'm wearing it. That's right. Most of this area over here is all going to be painted anyway, so now that I've got the base coat down, so now I can go in and just add some ground cover right onto the paint. Since I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to put the building at the moment, it's probably going to be centered right in here, so I can always touch up some of the ground cover afterwards. So we're just going to start adding some of our just grass area. On the edge of the tracks, I usually always like to put the gravel. then we use a bit of burnt grass just along the edges over here, because it's getting towards the track and it's not as well maintained over on this edge. Spread this down here a little bit further too. Oops. Dropping everything everywhere. Yeah, I'm probably doing everything way out of order, but you know, it's like everything else. Bounce around like a ping pong ball a little bit. Do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Add some extra little tufts of weeds along the edge of the property, because there will be a fence that is going to be going in after this. So, and I know approximately where the fence line is going to go, and it's going to follow this edge of this little hill right along the edge of the tracks. But I haven't printed off all the fencing yet, so I can easily add that in later. Just use a little push pin to be able to put that in. Of course, I can spray and glue all this down afterwards. Which, if I was smart, I would have brought my glue over here and put a little bead of glue along here just to help put some of this stuff down. But again, I do everything kind of out of order anyway. So, but that's okay. I don't really plan things out anyway. I just kind of go with the flow and do whatever I think my mind likes at that moment. And that's about it. So I figure I'll just finish this little spot off here while I'm at it. And might as well do it here too. So let's see. Some of this is all going to be covered up with ballast anyway, so it's not so bad. Yeah, we can pretend that this dark stuff here is like crabgrass and little weeds, and I can lighten up all this afterwards. Just a little bit of blending and bushes and a few trees. that. Just kind of a little bit of discoloration for where some of the graves may have been dug. We can mark them with headstones afterwards. I don't know how that's going to look, but I may have to put more in there. I don't think that's looking too bad. So I will have to try to, I have to get my knife and scribe that a little bit there. Just try to pop that off because I really don't want to use this base. This just looks kind of awkward. I want to kind of set it on there and then have a couple little bushes just along the edge of the building, just to kind of tie it in a little bit. So I think I will try to pop that off and then I can set that in place right there. Thought about using some of these fences that, you know, I 3D print these on my printer and then just have these along the back, just along the back side, just to block the train, some of the sound from the trains going by from the church, and then I'll use like a picket fence for all around the rest of the property of the church around there, and then see how that looks. That's it, because I have a bunch of these fences that I have 3D printed off. I don't know, I think they would look pretty good along here. Just have all those bushes outside there. It's kind of brushed up against the edge. Probably have to 3D print a whole bunch more of those fences and get them all painted up and go from there. Well, I think this is all I'm gonna do for today here. Not really a whole lot going on, just a little bit of detailing, and that's about it. We'll continue this here in a little segment. I'm kind of off a little bit. So I've done a little bit more to this. I've done a little bit more work to it. I got the church off of the base. I just used a sharp blade and slowly worked at the bottom of the base and got all the pieces picked off. So this is just a quick little mock-up of my idea of what it'll look like closer to the end. Of course I'll have to print off some gravestones, and sorry about my finger on there. I'll print off some gravestones. I'll just turn these into just small little mounds, just so it looks like where a person has been buried back under there. And have the gravestones, marker stones at the ends of everything. These are the wood fences that I 3D print off. All they are is just something like that. If I can get it to focus in for you. So, but that's pretty much it for what that is. And it has the two little pins there on the bottom. And just kind of push it in there and glue them in place. These things here, these are little picket fences that I print off as well. And I figure if I just have to print off a few more, of course, and I'll finish these fences right up to here. I'll have the picket fence lining around the yard, and maybe I'll even bring it along here and back behind the church, up along here like that. Same thing here, I'll finish it off to there. I'll bring the rest of that fence around, and maybe I'll paint the picket fence maybe brown or black, or maybe I'll just leave it gray, or maybe even paint it white. I don't know. Whatever happens to look good at the time. So just thought I'd give you a quick little view at the end here, and I'll add some bushes in afterwards. The church is just sitting here kind of approximately where I want it to sit. But that's the general idea for this church area for this at the moment. And I'm actually liking the fact that the church has gotten a bigger piece of property for all the citizens of the town. So that's all I'm gonna do for today. I gotta print off a bunch more of these things and get everything glued down again and then fix up this poor church that has seen better days. It is a little rough shape at the moment, so I'll get that fixed up a little bit, glue some of the pieces back on, and get it situated again. But for the most part, I'd say this is starting to turn out pretty good. Thank you for watching, everyone. Take care. Stay safe.